What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And this is Inconspicuous Thoughts, and I am, say it with me, the unapologetic, notorious Ace Mob. And we back, baby. Recently I did a video where I looked at secret base collapse, of the Detroit Pistons, based from the bad boy era. And of course, me being a Bulls fan, uh, I didn't take no pleasure in it whatsoever, because through it all, I'm still a basketball fan, and that rivalry is what made me a basketball fan, made me a Bulls fan. And I know people see in the background, I got a lot of Bulls memorabilia, and believe me, I got a lot of stuff off the shot as well. But, I decided, let's go on the tube and see if there's a video that's talking about it. So this video we're going to look at today is of talking about the Bulls-Piston rivalry, and it was war. And again, before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, definitely hit the like button and comment. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. If you like the content, check out another one of my videos. How about that? If you like the video and you think it's something you would like to look at more of my content, check out one of my other videos. That's my challenge to everybody. So before we get to this video too, what made you a fan of basketball? What made you a fan of the NBA? Because as much as people love college and even high school, what made you a fan of the NBA? When you think about Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Isiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, I can keep going. Dr. J, there's so many greats when it comes to the NBA. But when it comes to a team and a team that you hate, you're like, ooh, I want to see they get their upcomings, the uppins, I want to see them get destroyed. What was that for you? So in the comment section, if you do comment on these videos, do that for your boy, because it's definitely helped. So, enough talking, baby. It's time to get to the video. So, dramatic transition, wherever it comes from. All right, here we go. So, we're going to watch this video, and like I said, man, I'm a Bulls fan because of the Detroit Pistons. Those guys used to beat the Bulls down handily. Matter of fact, the whole league. So let's check it out. Let's see what made this rivalry better. And also, I know this isn't, but what's the best rivalry when it comes to the NBA? Is it the Lakers Celtics? Is it the Knicks Bulls? Or is it the Knicks Pacers? What is it for you? So put that in the comment section. Let's get to the video. Let's go.
This wasn't
I don't know
just
what that sound effect
basketball,
was, but
this was war. By 1991, Michael Jordan had already built a resume most players could only dream of. Rookie of the Year, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 5 straight scoring titles, and a reputation as the league's most unstoppable scorer.
Yes,
But
sir.
for all of his trophies and highlights, one thing eluded him: a championship. And one team stood in his way. The Detroit Pistons weren't just defending champions, they were back-to-back kings of 89 and 90. And they didn't just beat teams, they broke them. They were the bad boys. A wall of pain,
punish him. He pushed him in the head like, get down, sucker.
And relentless
Don't
pressure.
come to the basket.
Every drive to the
or
basket
to the whole
meant
job,
bruises.
turkey.
Every series left scars.
Come on,
And
Slick
yet,
Rick, what you gonna do?
one man refused to stay down.
I know that was
No
green.
matter how many times they knocked him to the floor, Michael Jordan kept getting back up again and again until finally he broke through. This is the real story of Bulls vs Pistons, a rivalry that was as brutal as it was emotional. It wasn't just about wins and losses, it was about respect, revenge, and rising above the pain. In 1991, everything changed. One dynasty ended, another was born. Now, the rivalry between the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons during the late 1980s and the early 1990s was one of the most heated in all of professional sports. To say these two teams hated each other would be an understatement.
Understatement
they didn't
of
just
the
clash,
century.
they collided over and over. And the tension wasn't random, it felt designed, like two forces built to oppose each other.
Now that's another thing. These guys were in the same conference, same division. So they got to play each other a lot. It wasn't like, the NBA now, a lot of moving parts, so you're going to see each other a lot. But man, to play each other 4 to 6 times a season, whatever it was back in the late 80s, early 90s. Lord have mercy. Can you imagine seeing the same team over and over? and you feel like it would make you better. But one team was better, and the other team just kept like, wow, how can we get over this hump? Of course, you know they beat them in the regular season, but I'm like this. If you didn't beat them when it mattered in the playoff, it's just BS. But let's go.
Drawn into conflict, not just by competition, but by identity. At first glance, it looked like a standard Midwest rivalry. Two cities, just a short drive apart, fighting for regional bragging rights. But this was deeper than geography. It was pride, culture, class. Detroit, the tough, working-class town, built on the back of factories and steel-toed hustle. Chicago,
he says that while showing an abandoned factory
with its big city lights and booming sports media machine. One city is known for blue-collar workers, the other is known for bright lights. The teams mirrored their cities. The Pistons were gritty, physical, and unapologetically nasty. They didn't care about being liked. They embraced being the villain. They played hard, fouled harder, and made it their mission to break opponents, both mentally and physically.
He's like,
They
boy,
were
you took
blue-collar
my woman,
basketball
sucker.
in its purest form.
Ooh,
The
that
Bulls
shot
were
right
the opposite. Led by a rising icon in Michael Jordan, they were fast, flashy, and clean. Jordan was graceful, explosive, and polished, on and off the court. He wasn't just a star, he was the star. Marketable, magnetic,
Yes.
everything the NBA wanted to put on billboards and into living rooms.
But here's my problem. As much as I'm a Jordan fan, I feel like Jordan is such a bad person. And what I mean by that is, I don't know Michael Jordan. I've seen the videos where people have tried, you know, even kids have tried to get autographs. Now, I know it ain't just Michael Jordan, but I'm like, man, as much people spending on your shoes and your image. Man, sign they damn basketball. Sign they shoes. Sign something. Man, I would be the most over-the-top, humblest individual if I'm sitting there and there's people coming. Like, I'm an indie wrestler. So if somebody wants an autograph from me, I sign it because it means something to them. Even if you may think, oh my God, this sounds stupid. No, it means a lot to me because I'm a nobody that this individual just made me someone. And then Isiah Thomas. I have the utmost respect for this man. This man goes far and beyond what an individual should do, whether it's through, volunteering and donation and all the descriptive words you can say for that. This man is it. And back when I was young, I couldn't stand him. But if you ask me right now, who would I want to meet between Jordan and Thomas? I would want to meet Isiah Thomas.
But on the other side was Isiah Thomas. He didn't play for Chicago, but he was Chicago.
Yeah, he's from
Born
Chicago.
and raised on the west side, raised tough, played tougher. He had street ball edge, that fire. But when he returned to his hometown wearing a Pistons jersey, the love wasn't there. The city didn't welcome him. The fans didn't cheer for him.
Look at this
They
song,
gave their
bitch.
hearts
What you
to
doing,
Michael
baby,
Jordan
with
instead.
Detroit Pistons
That
colors
stung,
on?
and it stayed with him. It's long been rumoured that Isiah played a role in the infamous freeze-out during the 1985 All-Star Game,
What's that?
where Jordan, despite a brilliant rookie season, barely touched the ball.
Oh.
He scored just 7 points and took fewer than 10 shots, while Isiah dropped 22. Thomas had always denied freezing him out, but whether or not it was true, the tension was real. The pride, the rejection,
No,
the
I ain't know
rivalry.
nothing about that.
It all
Okay.
created the perfect emotional firestorm. Bulls
Getting some
versus
new info
Pistons.
here with this
Wasn't
video. I
just
like that. I
basketball,
like that.
It was personal.
Damn.
It was war,
Yeah,
and it
piggyback
became
me,
one of the
bitch.
most violent
Don't
and
touch me.
emotionally
You push
charged
me.
rivalries
You push
the
me.
NBA
Even
has
though you
ever seen.
you smacked him first, he plays victim. The rise.
What
of the
made this
bad boy.
rivalry so intense wasn't just the hatred, it was how different these two teams were. The Pistons entered the 1980s as shadows of a once respected franchise, badly in need of change. That change began when they hired Jack McCloskey as general manager, a former head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. McCloskey was respected across the league for his basketball mind. But less than 2 months into the job, he made a bold move, trading away Bob Laettner, the team's all-time leading scorer, to the Milwaukee Bucks. It didn't matter that Laettner was a Pistons legend. McCloskey was ready to cut ties with the past and rebuild from the ground up.
Damn.
And it was the first big step towards moving to a new identity. But McCloskey wasn't done. He kept making moves, reshaping the roster piece by piece. What he still needed, though, was a leader. And with the number 2 pick in the 1981 NBA draft, he found one. Isiah Thomas, the fearless point guard who had just led Indiana University to an NCAA
That boy got
title.
that blaxploitation hairdo, don't he?
Was looking for. Small in size, but huge in presence. Isiah had the toughness,
got that Reggie
talent,
from the block
and
hairdo
leadership that could carry a franchise. McCloskey later said, "I saw him play in college, and I can't even recall who they were playing. But I remember thinking it was almost a perfect game. I wrote in my notes that his leadership qualities were immense. And just like that, the climb began." Isiah Thomas quickly proved he was the real deal. Year after year, he averaged between 18 and 20 points, along with 7 to 11 assists and 1 or 2 steals. He was a complete player, smart, skilled, and fearless. By 1982, GM Jack McCloskey made another move, trading Greg Kelser to Seattle for a third-year guard, Vinnie Johnson, a tough scorer off the bench. But McCloskey didn't earn the nickname Trader Jack by sitting still. Just minutes before the 1982 trade deadline, he pulled off another deal, this time bringing in center Bill Laimbeer, who would become a key player for the Pistons. That same season, the Pistons finished with a 39-43 record, but the roster wasn't clicking yet. The following year, things got worse. They won just 37 games, but scoring wasn't the issue. The Pistons just couldn't stop anyone. So McCloskey made a tough call. He fired head coach Scottie Robertson and brought in someone who saw the game the same way he did.
Now, see, that's another thing. You look at the way sports is now, we're not winning, so just blow it up or get rid of people. I always find it interesting. I got a lot of respect for GMs or owners or whatever, that they stay locked in. They know they got the pieces. They just got to keep adding to it to build that nucleus. And, I look at what, from my previous reaction to a Secret Base video about the collapse of the Pistons, I'm just like, man, the man knew he had something in Isiah. He just had to keep building around it. So that's how I always feel about any sport. I'm like I said, I don't know how the hockey dynamics work. But when you look at baseball, you look at football and basketball, if you got that one star, you just build around them, because that superstar is going to make an average player look good. Like say if you got a 5-star wide receiver and you got a 2-star quarterback, but he's got an arm, that 5-star wide receiver going to make him look like Jesus on the field.
Chuck
or
Daly.
Jesus.
Daly preached defense,
I digress.
toughness, accountability. And under his leadership, the Pistons began to form a new identity, one built on grit, intensity, and physical play. In 1984, with essentially the same roster, Daly led Detroit to 49-33 record and a return to the playoffs. The foundation of the Bad Boys was officially being laid. Ironically, 1984 was also the year the Chicago Bulls' fortunes began to change. They needed a star, a player who could build a franchise around. And the 1984 NBA draft was stacked with talent. Houston had the first pick and took Hakeem Olajuwon. That left Chicago sweating it out, hoping Paul...
Okay, Portland, what the hell is wrong with y'all? You got Michael Jordan, one of the greatest. He's sitting there. Now, granted, you don't know what's going to happen. I know they'll say, well, we had Clyde Drexler. You picked Sam Bowie. What the hell was Portland thinking about? Lord have mercy, you got Michael Jordan there. I mean, can you imagine if you're a real GM, you could have been like, we could probably trade Clyde and we could have brought in like a big or a small to mix with Jordan. But like I said, we don't know. Obviously, you don't know what greatness lied, what the greatness that Michael had yet. I know. But come on, man.
would pass on a young guard out of North Carolina named Michael Jordan. The Trailblazers already had Clyde Drexler and needed a big man, so they chose Sam Bowie.
Look at Swade
Chicago didn't hesitate. They took Jordan 3rd overall. Everyone knew he was special. No one knew just how special. Energy.
Bill Laimbeer. Now, when I think of Laimbeer, I think of, what's the boy name from Duke? Christian Laettner. Laettner? I think I said his name right. So, Bill Laimbeer, you can hate on him all you want. I know every team would have signed him. Always, people talk about, like now with greats like LeBron. They be like, hey, LeBron this, LeBron that. If your team signed LeBron, you instantly finals contenders. You're contenders for the championship. Now, I'm not trying to say Laimbeer is the same, but what I'm saying is Christian Laettner always reminded me of Bill Laimbeer. I mean, but Christian Laettner was talented. I'm not going to take anything away from him. You know, he was very physical. He definitely didn't back down from anybody. But good God, I swear when he got to the league, it wasn't what he was in college. Now, I can't remember how many seasons he's played. Obviously, I can Google it after I'm done with the video. But I think he did win a championship with Miami. I think him, Shaq, and not Laettner, him, Shaq, and Alonzo Mourning was all on the same team. We're talking about the 1, 2, 3 in that particular draft was on the same team. So that's a trivia question for you right there. All right, let's go. Everybody did and played their part. That's another thing I hate about current basketball. Everybody just feel like they should be the star, you know, instead of, hey, this right here is the nucleus and everything around it, you know. Clearly, I look at it, Isiah Thomas is the catalyst of the team. Now, obviously, some people could say Joe Dumars was catalyst, you know, A, B, whatever you want to say it. But Isiah Thomas to me was that team, and then everybody around it just did their part. And that's what's missing in today's basketball. Now, don't get me wrong, there are teams that play to that perfect, but you know, you look at a team and you got 3 superstars, but all 3 of them want to be superstar A. Not I'm A, you B, you're C. You know, it reminds me when the big 3 with LeBron and all them, where Chris Bosh just felt like he wasn't getting his due. You know, I'm like, shit, give me my money and give me my rings. I'm gonna do my part. So that's one thing, like I said, respect about Detroit. Despite all the madness of them being called the bad boys, as we say, they went out there and they did the damn thing. They beat the hell out of everybody, but at the same time, everybody knew what their job was. And that's what make a good team. I mean, the same with the Lakers, same with the Celtics, the Bulls, the Knicks later on, you know, what's their name? Portland Trail Blazers. Everybody had, you know, hey, we got our point guard, we got our shooting guard, we got our smalls, we got our bigs. They had people, and then they had their 6-man, the person to come off the bench that's going to light it up with scoring. They ain't coming out there for defense. They're coming out there for buckets. Like, that's what Microwave Johnson was for. But here we go.
He knew what was coming if they didn't make changes. Speaking to Sports Illustrated in 1989, Daly said, "We made up our minds right there and then that Michael Jordan was not going to beat us by himself again. We had to commit to a total team concept to get the job done." And that's exactly what they did. The Jordan rules were born. The Pistons designed a defensive strategy built to frustrate, wear down, and punish Michael Jordan. They threw everything at him. Joe Dumars and Dennis Rodman, 2 elite defenders with a combined 13 all-defensive team selections, were the primary matchups. But the physical punishment didn't stop with relentless coverage. Jordan got hit on screens, elbowed on drives, and hammered mid-air anytime he tried to soar for a dunk. It was relentless, and it worked. He was held to just 27.4
Whatever
points
doesn't
per
kill
game
you makes you
across the
stronger,
5-game
people, and that's
series.
the best way to describe Jordan's mentality. Just get stronger.
The only time he cracked 30 was in Game 2, when he scored 36 in the Bulls' lone win. In the Pistons' 4 victories in '88, they crushed Chicago by an average of nearly 15 points. It was clear Jordan and the Bulls still had a long road ahead, but that was just the beginning. The Pistons didn't just beat the Bulls in 1988, they beat them in '89 and again in '90.
3
over
years.
and over.
Now just
they broke Chicago's.
Think about that for a second, goddammit. I don't want to watch this no more. Think about that for a second, y'all. They beat them 3 years in a row. Now, granted, I would come in '89. Like I said, we moved to Chicago from Savannah. So, I don't know about, '88, but I know about '89. And I know about '90, obviously. But to lose 3 years in a row to them, you got to just think to yourself, damn, how many chips would they would have had? I mean, you don't know if they would have beat the Lakers, if they would have beat Portland Trail Blazers. So, yeah, the Lakers went back-to-back. Yeah, so you don't know if they would have beat the Lakers or the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, we know they beat them in '91. But you just think, what if they didn't lose to him in those 3 straight playoff appearances? What could have been? Man, just something to think about.
Spirit, on the scoreboard and in the soul. The Pistons under coach Chuck Daly had figured out the Bulls and, more specifically, Michael Jordan. The Jordan rules. It wasn't just a defensive scheme, it was psychological warfare. The plan, hit Jordan early, hit him often, and if he gets up, hit him again. Trap him, crowd him, switch up the looks. The goal was simple.
Jeez, just
slow down
knock
Jordan,
him on his
and you slow
ass,
down the
baby.
entire
That's all he
Bulls
kept
offense. And it worked. Jordan still got his points sometimes, but Chicago's rhythm broke. Their spacing collapsed, ball movements stalled. The Bulls became too focused on surviving the physicality to actually play their game. The Pistons didn't just want to win, they wanted to suck the life out of you, to frustrate you, to make you dread every possession. And if it meant crossing the line, so be it. Take Game 3 of the 1988 series. Just 1 minute 37 in, Bill Laimbeer set a dirty screen and punched Jordan in the groin. Jordan came back with a right cross, benches cleared, chaos erupted.
Bitch, back, boy, back.
Yes, indeed.
That's what they want. That's what they want. They want you to just get frustrated.
Later in that same series, Rick Mahorn laid a hard foul on Jordan, and Charles Oakley exploded in response. What started in the paint ended in front of the scorer's table.
Boomers went down, knocked down by Jordan, and Mahorn took Jordan down, and now the Bulls, of course, retaliate.
See, Charles Oakley was that man. He was that
Doug
set.
Collins
Whoa!
got knocked into the table.
Whoa!
Mahorn and Oakley were both ejected and fined. Detroit had made their point, literally by force. And then came Rodman's shove. One of the most
shove
vicious
in the
plays
bag.
of the rivalry. A full-speed hit that launched
And boy,
Scottie Pippen into the stands and split his chin open, such that Pippen couldn't even remember where he was. These weren't just fouls, they were flashpoints. The Pistons were in Chicago's head, and for 3 straight years, it worked. But eventually, the bruises hardened, the fear faded.
That boy was like, yeah, let me start putting this pound itch on me so we can start going to war with these suckers. I can't be a twig, I gotta be a monster. That's another thing. The best way to do it is just to beat them. Just to beat them. And if you get enough dogs around you, like Jordan will eventually do, because the Bulls will finally say, yo, let's put them dogs around them. Obviously Scottie Pippen. You got Horace Grant. You got Cartwright. And then, of course, John Paxson. Man, it was just steel versus steel. It was like, which one's going to bend first? Well, obviously the Bulls bent, but but to finally beat them, it's you just got to think you beat your op. You beat the team that has embarrassed you to the point where them fools walked off the court with time left instead of doing the honorable thing. Think about that. No matter what you think about what happened before, when you finally beat them and you was shaking their hands, you was congratulating them, wishing them luck in the next round. When you beat them, they walked off the court. Now, I know there's also Boston Celtics did it as well to Detroit, but I'm the type of person that you beat me, congratulations. Kudos to you.
The Bulls stopped flinching. And what came next, it wasn't just revenge,
that boy farted
it
right
was
there.
something deeper. Home. By 1991, the Bulls had reached a breaking point. They knew this was it. If they couldn't get past Detroit now, their window might close. So that summer, they got to work. Michael Jordan added 15 pounds of muscle, determined to absorb contact and fight back. Jordan later said, I was brutally beaten up, and I wanted to administer pain.
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to start fighting back.
Yes, sir.
His mindset became the team's mindset. The Bulls toughened up. They finished the 1990-91 season with a league-best 61-21 record. And most importantly, they beat the Pistons 3 times in the regular season. The same number of wins they'd managed against them in 3 years combined. For the first time in the rivalry, Chicago would have home court advantage. When the teams met again in the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd year in a row, this wasn't the same Bulls team.
No.
While the Pistons stuck to their rough, punishing defense, the triangle offense began to crack it open. And this time, Jordan was different. He no longer tried to win the series by himself. He listened to Phil Jackson. He passed out of double and triple teams and trusted his teammates. Jackson even installed Scottie Pippen as the point guard to better distribute the ball and break Detroit's pressure.
Forward.
It worked. Jordan still scored, but now others stepped up too. Pippen, in particular, shone, bouncing back from a disappointing playoff run the year before to average 22 points in the series. Pippen said, "You can tell MJ has more confidence in everyone, and that confidence was about to change everything."
Yes, sir.
After 2 convincing wins at Chicago Stadium, the Bulls sent a clear message in Game 3. They weren't just here to compete,
Them boys
they were
swept 'em.
here to end an era. In front of a hostile
Get out
Detroit
them brooms,
crowd,
baby.
Chicago took the fight to the Pistons and stole a crucial road win. Then, in Game 4, they didn't just finish the job, they buried the bad boys. The Bulls dominated from start to finish, cruising to a 115-94 win that sealed their first ever trip to the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan led the charge with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Damn.
Scottie Pippen added 23 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds,
Jeez.
and 3 steals.
Oh my goodness.
On the other side, not a single Pistons player cracked 20 points. For the first time, it was Detroit that crumbled under pressure,
Damn.
swept in 4 games by a team they had tormented for years. The loss was more than just a defeat, it was a collapse. And with 7.9 seconds
This
left
right
on the
here,
clock in game,
this right here is the most talked about thing, especially when it comes to Isiah Thomas and Dream Team. Him walking off, it's always been, that's why he wasn't part of the Dream Team. To me, Isiah should have been on the Dream Team ahead of John Stockton. I know it might get some hate. I don't care. Isiah Thomas should have been on Dream Team. I will stand by that forever. There is no reason why you put that much talent on a team and you don't have Isiah above all else. I understand the hatred and all that other BS because, he was on Dream Team too, as well as Joe Dumars. But again, Isiah Thomas should have been on the team. I know people go, well, what if that meant Jordan would be on the team? I don't give a damn. Isiah Thomas should have been on that team. But anyway, this is one of the biggest things. This get looked at more than when the Celtics did it. The Celtics did the same thing to Detroit. When Detroit finally overcame the Celtics walked off the court. I can't remember. I think it was Isiah who just happened to reach out to, what's his goddamn name? Oh, I can't think of his name. Kevin McHale. There we go. Kevin McHale. And that's the only reason why there's even acknowledgement. He grabbed his hand. He's like, hey, where you going? So he said in his head that he said out loud, that that's how you do it. Y'all beat us. Let's leave. No, I would go up to somebody and congratulate him. I mean, because of that, Isiah Thomas wasn't part of the Dream Team, and I still think that was dirty work, crazy work.
Several Pistons players walked off the court without shaking hands.
I mean, look at Jordan.
They passed
you
right
little
by
soft
the Bulls
bitch.
bench without a word, heading straight to
like,
the
you
locker
really
room.
walking by me?
No congratulations.
You gotta be kidding me.
No sportsmanship.
This is
just
diabolical.
silence and bitterness. The moment sparked a media firestorm and became one of the most iconic and controversial moments in NBA history, because the Pistons didn't just lose the series, they lost their grip on the league, and they lost it without grace. For Michael Jordan and the Bulls, the snub stung. In each of the previous 3 years, they had shaken the Pistons' hand after falling short. This time, when the tables had turned, Detroit couldn't return the respect. Still, the message was clear. A new era had begun.
Yes, sir.
This was the moment the Bulls took over the NBA, the true beginning of their dynasty. Reflecting on that victory, Jordan said, "We had gotten past them, and to me, that was better, in some ways, than winning the championship." And while he's admitted that his hatred for the Pistons still lingers, he also knows that the rivalry forged something powerful. The battles with Detroit built the Bulls' mental toughness. They hardened their resolve, and ultimately, they laid the foundation for one of the greatest dynasties the sport has ever seen. So yes, the bad boys beat Jordan down many times. They tested his body, rattled his mind, and challenged his will.
Yes.
For years, they were the wall he couldn't climb, the team that turned every layup into a bruise, every win into a war. But here's the thing, they didn't break him, they built him. In trying to stop Jordan, they gave rise to something far greater, a fire they couldn't contain. Every hard foul, every handshake snub, every playoff heartbreak, it all forged the version of Jordan the world would come to fear. The Bulls didn't just get past Detroit, they replaced them. So, what's your favorite Bulls vs Pistons memory? Comment below.
All right, that was a good video. Good video. I mean, these YouTube videos don't cover everything. They cover what's the necessary thing. But me being a Bulls fan and knowing what Detroit was to the Bulls and just definitely the fan base, and also being that close, you know, Detroit and then Chicago. They're close enough to where you got family either in Milwaukee or Indiana. You know, that whole radius. It definitely was a lot of bloodshed, but hey, man, good video. Good video. That was pretty good. Yeah, that was a good video. Good job of them. Link in the description to the full video if you guys want to watch it on your own time. But like I said, me being a Bulls fan, you know, it's literally the reason why I became a fan of basketball. Watching them go to war with Detroit was definitely violent. But, you know, again, you know, when you look at basketball now, I don't know how you look at rivalries, being that, of course, in the age of social media, everybody's a friend. So you see them going to war on the court and then they're at the club afterwards. So I don't think nothing wrong with that. You know, I've been in a ring with individuals, we've thrown each other around, and then we get backstage or we're in a vehicle riding with each other or we're going out to eat. It doesn't really matter. I think kayfabe is something dead with WWE, and I think that's the thing that's just done with anything. There's no such thing as kayfabe anymore. Everything's out in the open. But again, this is the greatest rivalry to me. I mean, granted, you could say Bulls and Cleveland, you could say Bulls Knicks, you could say Bulls Pistons, but not Pistons, sorry, Pacers. But Pistons definitely is the team that definitely brought the best out of the Bulls to make them what they would become, a six-time champions in the '90s and the team of the '90s. Of course, what's their name? Houston and the Spurs won the other three. Houston two and the Spurs one. So when it comes right down to it, what's the rivalry? What's the greatest rivalry to you? I mean, Lakers Celtics is pretty much there. I mean, they're both two. I think they both have 17 championships apiece. I'm gonna have to Google that. Maybe 18. But when it comes right down to it, what was the team that made you a fan of basketball? Because you hated the other team that just kept beating them. So that's something to put in the comments section. You know, what's your favorite player? What you think of this rivalry? Is it the best? Yay or nay? Hey, put it all in the comments, people. Hey, again, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Hit me with a like button. Definitely comment. It definitely helps. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. No, 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 no. If you like the content, check out another one of my videos. Check out one of the videos in the descriptions, you know, linked in the description area, or click my channel link there, and just check out my check out my catalog. You know, I've been doing this for over a year now since I've rebranded the channel, and I'm having a good time. You know, when I see people who've watched the channel and they've seen things and they go, "Man, I laughed my butt off." Thank you. That's all I want to do. I want to see people laugh. We're living in crazy times right now. Food prices and political landscape, and you know, I didn't cut my grass today, so I'm stressed out. So just go to my channel, check out another video. That's cool. Awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and close this video out. Thank you to the channel. Like I said, the content creator on this, link in the description to their video. And hey, thanks for coming back to Inconspicuous Thoughts. And again, my name is A Smile. And before you leave, this is my final message to you. And it's not a message of pain. It's a message of love. No matter what's ailing you in your life, always remember to be humble and kind, because you just have no clue what the person next to you is dealing with. So, to get love is to spread love. To my heart, to the sky, now to you. Love, baby. All right. Thanks for coming through. The diabolical Pistons. But hey, greatness is forged in fires, baby. Let's get it.